Hi, coaches, parents, and everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to Mist. I'm Coach Nikita, and this is lesson number 22. Let's discuss a little bit about technique on the forehand and the backhand, but let's talk about the forehand first. There's many different techniques out there, and like Rafael Nadal, he's got this reverse forehand over there. Roger Federer that finishes over here. You got Del Potro with a giant, massive backswing. And many others that you can talk about for hours on end. It's not a never-ending discussion, and the question is, what is correct? What is not correct? What I really want to think about, as far as I understood, is what's within the acceptable range to use the Jorge Capestani's wording, and I like that wording, acceptable range. What is acceptable and what is not acceptable? So I teach a Roger Federer technique, and you are already, if you followed my lessons and you worked with your athletes, you have already been doing part of the Roger Federer technique. But that's not. Now, in fact, it's not really Roger Federer technique. It's the ATP forehand. This is the really one I teach. There is a difference between WTA forehand and ATP, but I only focus on the men's forehand, and that's the one that I feel is more feasible, or gives you, let's say, more ability. All right, and what I mean by that is, the ATP forehand is very, very different from WTA forehand, is that it allows you to do two things at the same time. It gives you speed and spin at the same time. The WTA forehand can only do one of those things, and it's all in technique. All right. Now, I'm not going to go into detail. But do keep in mind that if you happen to be watching videos online on YouTube, obviously, and you see women doing a forehand and the guys doing a forehand, and you're trying to copy both, you might run into trouble. You might be thinking that you should do it this way on this shot, and you should do it this way on that shot, and really they're not the same. So you shouldn't mix them together. Okay, so that's really important. Now, why did I choose the ATP forehand? I could have chosen like the 1970s forehand stroke. In fact, that's the one that I'm teaching. That if you've gone through the lessons, it's part of that stroke. Okay, which is finishing right here and finishing in front. All right, and you should be asking, well, why are you not finishing here? Well, guess what? It's a progression. We're getting there. Okay. This whole channel is to answer that question. How do we develop a tennis player? How does it start? Okay. We don't start from calculus when you first get into math. We start from 2 + 2. Eventually multiplication table, some division, and algebra, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. I'm sure you all know it because you've gone through the high school system, through the educational system. So what I really want you to understand is that in the lessons to come, next lesson, I will be doing the technique that I want to focus on, and eventually it's only going to be part. It's going to be part. It's divided into 5 parts, but I'm only going to be discussing 4. And the 5th part is extremely advanced. It should be only reserved for more advanced kids. But anyway, so 4 parts, and we're going to develop it from the ground up. So right as we're doing it now, from just pushing the ball, we're going to be doing something different next time. All right. So currently, you should be at around 8 months. Throughout the lessons, if you've been following my lessons and you've been trying to get your athletes to work through all of these things, We're at the 8th month mark, and we're looking to finish the red ball within a year. So within the next 4 months, that's what we're trying to get to. All right. Now it could be faster for you with your athlete, or it may be longer with some. It just really depends. Now I will be discussing where you should be trying to get to with the red ball. What's the finish line? I believe I've discussed it a little bit in other lessons, but let's go into technique next lesson, and I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' opinion. Again, this is the forehand that I will be discussing has been broken down by myself, other coaches that I worked with, in order to make it simple, progressible, and scalable. All right, so let's I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me. This was lesson number 2. Bye bye.